and then pop these out with your finger. And then once you have a few started, just work your way around the perimeter. All right, there's that. Make sure you don't scratch these or get fingerprints or anything on it. Inside. So here's your gauge overlay and your needles. Stepper motors have a range from about here to here. The idea is you want to relocate these on the shafts exactly where they are right now, hence the tape. So carefully move each one down to where it stops. You'll notice they'll spin easily up here, and then they'll have a definite stop. Usually corresponds to the bottom of this mark, but you want to be more exact with tape. Also, these are all press fit on, so take note of how close they are to the gauge face. So then there are several ways you can take these off. You can spin them on the shaft, so like this, against the stop. Sometimes it takes a little bit more. They pop off. It's basically a press fit right there onto a little needle shaft right there. And then the other ones come off easier. If you're having trouble getting them off, you can use a fork under them. Just make sure you don't move the fork on the overlay and scratch it. But all these are coming off really easily. Just make sure you spin it on the shaft against the stop counterclockwise. And then also put these somewhere safe. They're pretty fragile too, so make sure you don't step on them or leave them under something. Here's your gauge overlay. You have two little snap tabs, one here, one here. So lift up the overlay, kind of wiggle it around until it comes off one, wiggle it around until it comes off two. Here's your gauge overlay. Here's the spacer. You still have your odometer reset poking out right here. I find it easier to take it out first. It's got two little snap tabs on each side. So you just push one in with a small screwdriver. This is what it looks like. You just push these in and pull it out. Set that aside. So flip it over. You've got 4 T10 Torx screws. Take those out. All right, so now it's unscrewed. You still have these side snaps. Again, start with your finger. Once you pop one on the corner, try to put a little bit of tension on it. Then work your way around. 3 at the top are the hardest because they're all close to each other. But then just work your way around the perimeter. And then once you're done, you want to flip it over. Because right now, you can lift this up and the PC board is not attached to anything. It's just sitting in here on guides. All right. So right now we need to make clearance on the spacer. This is your 4-wheel drive light. Actually, it's this one. So we need to find a way to get the wire from here outside. And then here's your 4-wheel drive LED, which if they would just program this to come on, you wouldn't have to do this in the first place. This is the way the wiring will come out. Here's your insert. It's got laser cut adhesive and a spacer. Sits right in there and it has a cutout for the stock LED. So it'll be basically sitting in here and the wires will run out, up like this and out. And then this will go to the module. So you need to make 2 clearance cuts on this spacer. One is at the actual recess for the light. It's really soft ABS, so just some sort of cutters or dikes. Take out the very far corner. Now we can put the insert in. And press it in there. and then tuck the wires into this channel right here, and then up, and then now we need to get it outside, which would be 2 small cuts. Be careful, the pieces of ABS can fly out, like that. Try to keep the V-notch only as big as you need it. Focus on that. And then run your wire out. You have a standoff right here. Make sure the wire is to the side of that. And then make sure the heat shrink tubing is in the V-notch, just to protect the wire. All right, now we start reassembly. Pull the adhesive backing off. All right, there. So now you see you have your new LEDs sitting on top of your old one. You got your 2 here for the 2 different colors. Your wires exiting up here. Everything snapped in place. And if you look around, you don't see any wires here in any of these, and there's none blocking your LCD screen. Now you reverse what you did before. Start with the 4 Torx screws. Flip it over. Put your overlay back on. Again, handle it carefully. Make sure it snaps onto each of the 2 little pins. Now you put your needles back on. You put them on pretty much at the 12 o'clock position. Push them down so they have the same depth as when you took them off. And then rotate them on the shaft until they point at your mark. So you'll be actually spinning the needle on the shaft until you hit that mark. So then that's, again, lowermost extreme point. If you find that you're not spinning it on the shaft, you can spin it back on the shaft and come back. So let's say if I put this one on and didn't feel any resistance until I got to maybe down here, come back the other direction, spin it on the shaft so you feel a little resistance, and then come back and reapproach your lines. Again, make sure you have the right depth, and then spin.
Yeah, we gotta start all over.
All right, they're all pointing at their lines, so go ahead and pull the tape off. You can move the needles up as long as you're not rotating them on the shaft.
There you go.
All right, and then you want to reset all the needles back to their lowermost extremes. There you go. Don't forget odometer reset. Snaps right back in. Now, before you snap this back on, do a careful inspection. Make sure you don't have any fingerprint smudges on either your gauge cluster or the shiny surfaces here. And then line up your odometer pin, place it on. Snap, go around, make sure all snaps from both the front and back are properly attached. And your gauge cluster is ready to put back into the truck.